All right, so now we're gonna take a look at a situation with a loss. And again, we have the market graph over here. That just sets the price, and then most of the action takes place over here. And I've got Sally Farmer over here. And unfortunately, Sally is losing money, all right? So we're always looking for where does MR equal MC? That is right there. I got a little heart emoji by the 120 because that's the quantity of max profit. That's our most important place to be in the beginning of the problem. I know that my price is at $8 because there's my horizontal line. Don't assume that the highest number is the price, especially if there's a loss, excuse me. My quantity is 120. My average total cost is going to go up from 120 all the way up to the average total cost curve, so my average total cost equals 12, all right? Well, clearly that's a bad situation, right? Because my price is less than my average total cost. We'll do the total revenue, which is 8 times 120 in your calculator or in your heart, that's 960, okay? Average total cost is 12 times 120. My total cost equals 1,440. Okay, well, this is bad news. 960 minus 1,440, total revenue minus total cost, I have a loss of $480. All right, and just to confirm that, I've got my difference between average total cost and price is $4 times 120 is 480, so that matches up nicely. All right, remember, we don't care if they're making or losing money, we just want to get the answers correct, right? So what's going to happen? Okay, well, there's losses being incurred. Firms are going to leave the industry. This is a bad industry, so supply is going to decrease, shift to the left. Firms leave, supply decreases, and my supply curve is going to intersect right about here, and my new average total cost is going to be, I'm sorry, my new price and average total cost is going to be 11, all right, and I get a new long run Mr. Dark right here. So LR Mr. Dark, that stands for the long run Mr. Dark. And I get a long run quantity of 150 and a long run price and average total cost of 11. Okay. Remember, the long run price and average total cost are both the same. All right, so 11 times 150 is 1650, I believe. So total revenue will be 1650. Total cost will be 1650 in the long run, and the profit will equal 0. Okay. Just remember to keep it in rectangles, all right? And don't flip-flop your price and average total cost. If your average total cost is hovering above Mr. Darp, then you know there's a loss taking place. If average total cost comes swooping down below Mr. Darp, you know that there's probably a profit going to take place. And it always ends up in long-run equilibrium, which is where MC equals ATC always. This will be my total revenue and total cost perfectly overlapping in the long run. But in the beginning, heart emoji, MR equals MC, that's where we want to be. All right, let's take a look at elasticity again, primarily because, especially if you weren't in class today, we spent a decent chunk reviewing on this, and it makes up a big part of the exam. So the major type of elasticity is price elasticity of demand. Remember, elasticity means responsiveness, how elastic something is. So price elasticity of demand, how much the consumer responds to changes in price. If it's elastic, the value is greater than 1. There are substitutes available, tends to be expensive, luxuries, and total revenue and price go in opposite directions. So if price decreases and total revenue increases, we know it's elastic, okay? By the way, that's why things like carpeting, jewelry, cars tend to be put on sale or with promotions because people respond significantly in significant ways, and that drives up total revenue, okay? Inelastic goods, the value is less than 1. There's no substitutes, or tend to be very few substitutes available. Inexpensive goods like toilet paper, milk, staples, pens and pencils, they tend to be necessities, okay? So, you know, I'm drawing a blank because I'm thinking like a healthy human being, not like an economist. Necessities are things like coffee, tobacco, alcohol, parking downtown, right? Things we really need to live, okay? So necessities, and then total revenue and price the same. That's why things that are inelastic tend to never be put on sale, because if the price is lowered, the total revenue will also get lowered. So things like coffee, cigarettes, and alcohol tend to not have big promotions. They tend to incrementally go up in price because the total revenue will follow. All right, we have one of my favorite graphs, the stack graphs. This is just a way to kind of keep things, you know, just kind of on one page. So if you look at it, I've got price coming down, total revenue going up in the elastic region. Unit elastic region is the highest total revenue, and total revenue does not change with the decrease in price in the unit elastic region. And then in the inelastic region, as price goes down, total revenue goes down, okay? So it's just a nice little way to make sure, you know, if we understand this, we're in pretty decent shape. And remember, it's EUI, everybody under the influence of the Holy Spirit. We've got our graphs up here. If you know this is perfectly elastic, then this one is relatively elastic. Looks like somebody diving on the diving board of the perfectly elastic diving board. Perfectly inelastic, some say it looks like a sideways F. Yes, it does. But if you just look at the curve, it looks like an I for inelastic. And then somebody came over and pushed over the inelastic curve, and it became relatively inelastic. So if you know one of these, the other one, the relatively, should be easy to figure out, okay? And I just got a sample total revenue test problem. So let's say my original price is 5, and original quantity 100, new price 4, new quantity 150. Well, rocket science, the price went from 5 to 4, that is a decrease in price. Don't lose sight of that basic fact. Then I calculate my total revenue, 5 times 100. The original total revenue is 500. My new total revenue is 600. What happened to total revenue? It went up. So decrease, increase, those are opposite, which means that it's in the elastic range, or an elastic good that we're talking about. To do the actual formula, there will be one problem on this, on the test. So you need to know how to do it. You're going to have to actually calculate the value. So we use these quantities. So remember, it's always quantity on top. 150 minus 100 over the original quantity of 100. And then 4 minus 5 over the original price of 5. I get 0.5 over negative 0.2. Negative 2.5 is the value. Take the absolute value is 2.5. That is also elastic. All right. Keep in mind also, you have to know price elasticity of supply. You don't have to know much about it, other than it's how much producers respond to price changes, okay? We mentioned, you know, producers tend to respond more as time goes by because they can make more changes. For my money, just know price elasticity of supply is how much producers respond to price changes. You do have to know income elasticity of demand. If you calculate it and the value is positive, that means the good is normal, and negative, it means it's inferior. All right, you just change of quantity over change of income. It's always the same problem, quantity over money. It's just is sometimes price in the denominator or an income elasticity. It's income instead of price. And then there's cross elasticity of demand, which is the change in quantity of one good for the change in price of another good. Again, if the calculation comes out to be positive, substitute. Coach Power, Coach Hogan, come in tomorrow. It's a positive, makes you feel good, substitute. If it's negative value, then it's complement. All right. Okay, I am gonna head home and post these, and hopefully everything will work out. I'm gonna post some Clifford videos, some practice tests, and I forgot, I promised I would post the answer to the quiz, so I do have one more quick video to make, so I will do that, and that'll be the third video, I think.